To start off this video, I want to ask you 3 questions. Firstly, out of these 2 characters, which one do you think is pretending to be human? Secondly, do you think you would have the stomach to kill one of them? And lastly,
are you alone in there?
Please no, I'm a human, please. They are burning.
No, I'm Not a Human is a horror game that has spread throughout the internet like wildfire, creating a massive overnight cult fandom. The core gameplay loop is similar to games like Papers, Please and That's Not My Neighbor. While Papers, Please is a commentary on geopolitics and authoritarianism, and the latter is a comedic infiltrator game, No, I Am Not a Human throws the player a curveball. You must directly or indirectly kill people based off of their appearance to continue the game. You must decide whether to let desperate people in based on their appearance and their answers. There is a constant air of paranoia and pressure due to the ever-present possibility of one of them being a monster that will kill you and everyone else inside. And I actually think this game has opened up a lot of conversations on things such as immigration, Lookism, and Ableism. And watching other people play the game and rationalize who they choose to kill or stay says a lot about them. Because you totally let her in over her because one just had a really inviting personality, right?
I know what kind of man you are.
And don't think I don't know about this guy too. Anyways, throughout the course of each day, you spend energy testing yourself and others for signs of being visitors as the signs progressively get told to you by the news. Seemingly semi-normal things like hairless armpits, irritated eyes, and white perfect teeth are relayed to the player as features of the imposters, and it's up to the player to allocate their energy and to vet and eliminate their new guests. However, if you haven't noticed yet, the art style of this game makes almost every character look inhuman. Atypical body proportions, inspirations from trends and lolcows, and other slightly off things muddy the waters of what each person considers not human or in line with what the news tells them. Now, to return to my hypothetical from the beginning of this video, both of these characters are canonically human in every single run. However, one is a burn victim and one is your neighbor's young daughter, who albeit is a bit strange looking, but that's exactly my point. We see a lot of the same trends in most playthroughs of the game. People accept the very sultry woman, outright reject the tall man, feel pity for the cold coat guy, and so on. Now, of course, this isn't a vid to psychoanalyze people or call them evil, awful people for thinking that this chick is a murderous underground creature in a video game, but to recognize the true allure and genius of the game, where you kill a burned firefighter because he claims his hands were trying to get rid of all the ash and that's why they're dirty, or the pothead for having red eyes, or simply just because you don't like the way that they look or talk. All of these questions are ones that you often have to weigh and act on in this game. And it doesn't offer many sure answers, especially with randomized characters, forcing the player to live with the guilt of their potentially fatal mistakes. The ultimate horror is the realization that in order to win, you must become ruthlessly efficient at dehumanization. Every single human that comes up to your door has to be treated as a threat in order for you to survive. In order to prioritize the safety of your in-group, aka the people staying in your house, you have to mercilessly exclude the out-group. And the outgroup isn't just visitors, it's other humans that you may not see fit or just downright dislike. There's situations in the game where some humans are just downright annoying or horrible, and you can choose how to dispose of them, whether by killing them or turning them away. For example, the man and his wife. Just going off of body language, you could tell something is off, and it's hammered home to the player through the husband's dialogue and the wife never speaking. All doubt about their dynamic is removed when in some playthroughs you can examine his knuckles and see that they're bruised. Ironically, if he is a visitor, he has no bruises. There's also a guy that constantly annoys you with legal threats and housing contracts that I've seen people shoot for basically that reason, which obviously within a game is normal, but it also does raise some questions on how they would treat somebody like that with a hyperfixation or bad social skills in the actual apocalypse. Also, while the game is heavily implied to take place in Eastern Europe, being created and localized by a Russian studio, the organization of FEMA within the game also gives some interesting parallels to America's current political landscape, particularly when we compare the role of FEMA within the game to agencies like ICE. As the game progresses, we are told through environmental storytelling and various characters that FEMA will never return any guests that they take from your house, human or not, and they're also indiscriminately killing those fleeing from the chaos. And although she doesn't seem to be common in many runs so far, there's literally a guest who was a border patrol agent with a FEMA husband who constantly talks about protecting the nation. If you also tell her to leave, she threatens you by saying that she'll call up FEMA and have them come every single day with unscheduled checks. She also complains a lot about how FEMA doesn't hire women despite how bad she wants to work there, which may have some lore reason with the visitors, but in my opinion, I just took it as commentary that FEMA and the social setting of the game is more socially conservative. And although I think there's a lot of misdirection and good theories about FEMA, the game also explores the societal fallout of such a crisis through the character of the Vigilante, a violent armed man who operates at night and takes trophies of the so-called visitors he kills. He represents the black and white morality of justice and sees himself as the judge, jury, and executioner. In my interpretation of his character, he's a rejection of what some people call suicidal empathy, which has been a rising term on the right to describe how too much empathy for the out-group can lead to the destruction of the in-group. And I certainly don't think the game was made to be overtly political or commentary on immigration, lookism, etc., but I think that it applies. I don't know, masked men from the government coming to your house to take the people inside, and then they threaten you if you refuse?
Oh my god. He's absolutely right!
I'm just saying, I'm just the media analysis guy. Through the character of the intruder, you are forced to not be alone. You have to take people in, and your empathy and your biases towards people will ensure if you live or die. I mean, whether or not they're visitors, the characters in this game all have backstories, alibis, the ways they interact with you, their body language. All these things are things that you could pick up on and get attached to. There are awful shitty humans in this game, but also infected visitors that make you wish that they weren't visitors. And an example of this is the cashier girl. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna chapter this video, but skip past this if you don't want spoilers. The cashier girl is one of the earliest characters that the player encounters no matter the randomness of the run, and her design is deliberately crafted to both evoke pity and paranoia. She claims to have been assaulted by visitors and speaks with timid and grateful lines. However, the unevenness of her shoulders and her paranoid look is a red flag for a lot of players, but most let her in and find pity on her. Unfortunately though, in every single run, she is a visitor, and seemingly is shocked to find out that she's a visitor, and is seemingly shocked to find out that she is a visitor. She holds out on not killing anybody and pleads with the player, but at a certain point you have to kill her if you want to continue the game and not end your run. Her character and storyline stands out because it basically asks the player, would you rather have a monster who is kind and pitiable that will eventually be your destruction, or the human who is cruel and destructive? The game refuses to allow humanity to be a synonym for good, so when I read the name of the game before playing, I was confused. Why would a visitor in-universe blow their cover by directly saying, no, I am not a human? But then I realized that the title can be interpreted through the eyes of the protagonist losing his humanity and doubting whether or not he's a visitor himself. The game's title, therefore, is the final devastating confession from him. No, I'm not a human. It's even heavily implied by the neighbor at the beginning of the game that you were alone or shut in before the apocalypse even happened, possibly not even seeing yourself as fitting into humanity. The true horror of the game isn't about identifying the monsters in the aftermath, it's about surviving the process of not becoming one. No, I'm Not a Human holds up a mirror to our world, forcing us to ask a terrifying question. In our own desperate struggles for security and peace of mind, what parts of humanity are we willingly and perhaps permanently sacrificing? Is trying to be good through acts of mercy and empathy always in the best interest of yourself? And is isolating yourself and refusing others really in your best interest? And those are questions that are up to you to decide and think about. If you got this far, thank you for watching. I know a lot of my existing audience gets a bit of whiplash when I go from media analysis to politics and back and forth, but let me know what you guys think. Any insights you guys think I might have left out, or things that you picked up on that you want to share. I know the game is still decently new and there's a lot of conspiracies and Easter eggs and stuff, and maybe something I didn't pick up in a run, or that I didn't see in a playthrough. So yeah, see you guys in the next video, and thank you. Bye.